Hello and welcome to a look at the RST X-3 on our typical sport test pattern featuring James and myself. We'll also be making surface changes. Here's a look at the pattern. It's the 2019 USBC Open Championships doubles and singles pattern. If you've seen our other videos, you know the drill. 42 feet, 28.4 mils, just over a 2-to-1 ratio, so long side of medium lengthwise, crossing into heavy on the volume, and very flat and difficult. Ball and layout information is in the sidebars, and our personal stats are in the description. We'll start with me at the box surface, which is 4K fast, and just like on the house shot, this is a very aggressive ball that also shapes a lot too, so similar problems from straighter as in the review. Lots of hook, lots of boom, and with out of bounds to the left now, I can't mess around out here, so we didn't try that for long. Even moving inside, more oil to the left, less oil to the right, and after having enough trouble on the house shot getting the ball down the lane, this just wasn't going to be better for me especially. ASIMs are usually a big no-no on the left side on tough stuff to begin with. There's a reason that you see nothing but urethane on the left side of the lane on sport patterns usually. We already have plenty of length and shape, we need dig and control. This is the reason that lefties can get urethane to shape, and if urethane is shaping plenty, there's no reason to get crazy, and this is crazy times 3. See what I did there? Next step was taking it to 2000, but like I mentioned before with James, sometimes surface just isn't going to work. The idea here is to slow it down a little to control the back ends and also make it a little earlier to be more predictable in the mid lane. The problem is that it already wants to dig early, and there's just no slowing this down without adding enough surface to the point that it's then not going to get down the lane, and that's the case here. I wasn't expecting it to work, very quickly confirmed. I have seen a lot of low rev bowlers match up really well with this ball though, and I will reiterate what I said in the review. I think both lower rev bowlers and big rev rates that like to slow hook it will love this ball. Moving to James, we all know this is going to be the same story, but we're going to check it out anyway. The first couple shots looked more promising than we expected, but he had enough issues with it being relentless on the house pattern, and that's only going to be exaggerated when they're this tough. The core wants to be longer and flippy, the cover wants to dig now, so at box surface, it's also very sensitive for him. We're still going to move around here though. It's not all ball and layout and surface. Sometimes it's that you're just playing in the wrong place, doing the wrong things. The funny thing is that usually if playing straighter is too touchy, you'll want to move in so that you can use angle as hold or length, so you don't have to use the oil on the outside of the lane for that. Usually trying to play straighter on something tough is really difficult because of how sensitive the reaction is. You have to keep your speed up to get it down the lane because first of all, you're probably using surface for blend and stability, and if you miss in at all, it's just gone. However, same deal if you miss a little right, so if it's touchy, move in so you don't have to deal with anything outside first arrow, play more of the middle where it's more consistent, but to do that, you have to increase your angles to help get the ball down the lane because on sport patterns, it's flatter in the middle. With this ball, that actually made it worse because it wants to go now, so there's no fading the middle. It just stops and goes, and if he gives it any room to the right at all, no chance at getting back because the cover wants to do things the core isn't ready for yet. Remember, it's a very high RG for an ASIM, so if he leaks it outside and the cover's not getting traction, it's just not going to wind up. The first stop for the surface adjustment was 2000 that we're already watching now. We're doing all these by hand, lane side by the way. The surface doesn't tend to get as deep by hand, but it's fine for illustrating the point. The problem that I kind of alluded to in the review again was that while surface is going to blend the shape out, it's also going to make the ball stronger and earlier. The issue here is that the hook is going to increase more than the shape is going to slow down, or the amount of surface it takes to blend the shape out enough is going to also make the ball too early and too strong to use. 2000 was workable though. It still didn't look great, but it did give him some stability. He moved back to the right and started launching it, and surprisingly it looked amazing for 3 solid shots. Now granted, he aced all 3, and that's not something that's going to be sustainable or repeatable for long, but it still happened, so I'm going to put it out there. Continued to move around a little bit, but it's just not the ball. Too much cover for that core for him. Just for fun, he also took it down to 1000. He threw it on the other lane the first shot to knock the dust off, and yeah. It wasn't half bad after the first couple shots though. He also has the ability to really juice his speed so he can do just about anything he wants to physically. So he can realistically make just about anything work in virtually any situation, but making something work versus having something that fits and is easier to repeat with is the better option. He had to get super deep, fling it, and kind of spin it to keep it on line, and the look lasted all of 2 shots. The X3 is still wild. It's big dig, big shape, ball reaction for days, but obviously it's going to be too much for some people. I have seen lots of people do really well with this ball, but it's not for us personally. I don't think this isn't a Zen Master situation where it's just straight up inferior to stuff like the Phase 2 and Idle Helios. I do respect the X3, but it's just not the ball for James or I. Big thanks as always to my outstanding Patreon members and Discord community. Thank you for watching, and may the strikes be with you.